Hello, everybody. This is Flubb. I'm here today to talk about a change up in our lineup. We are starting with a new show, and a lot of people may not know this, but there are some things that have happened over the weekend within DotP, and we've gotten to a place where Wazoo was not able to really continue on longer with us. We are having a new show that we are going to start. I'm going to be in charge of. If you want to know details about that, you can go onto the Monday show. Look up. Cyphus and Roland are going to be talking about that, kind of giving you some background information on what happened. But overall, it's sad to see him go. He meant a lot to me. He was a great mentor, and he taught me just how to be likable on the mic, how to enjoy myself, and how to not take this too seriously. He's someone that he will always be my friend, and he will be very missed by me personally and by all of our staff. So without further ado, I'm excited to show you my new show and to introduce my guests as well. The new show is called Q&A with Flubb. If you guys want to hear about any other ideas with that, but we're sticking with Q&A with Flubb right now. But my guests today are going to be rotated out every week. But my two guests are two friends of mine that you all know and love. First off, we have the main man himself. We have Roland.
Not the main man, but hello. Not
Hey,
even
man.
close. I think Ursi kind of usurped that role. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that we had the very popular man, the man that everyone knows and talks about, the most knowledgeable one in .p. Apparently, he knows like
Oh man,
all
I
these
like
random.
already.
And not the
All
most
these-
knowledgeable.
Well, he's all these random podcasts, right? I mean, he goes from knowing like about sharks,
The
like
most knowledgeable
street
about
sharks, to-
World War I history. Yeah, for sure.
And Dota 2.
Oh.
No, I don't know about Dota 2. I'll give you the most knowledgeable on street sharks and like spin tops and things like that. But like Dota 2, that's where I can give you a challenge, man. That's where I
See-
give you a challenge.
I prefer my new title, Usurper. Apparently, that's a dope title, dude. I should keep that one.
Oh yeah,
put that on my Twitter bio.
Usurpinity, something like that. It works. It works.
Well, like Proud's name in Dota is like Proud, the morose. Now I could be Ursinity, the Usurper.
Ursinity, the snake usurper bitch.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
so-
oh boy, oh wow, moving on. All right.
Well, I knew that doing this with you, Roland, would be an experience, and it's already starting off really well. This is awesome.
I didn't mean to
Alright.
call you a bitch, Ursi. I love you.
That's okay. I know you don't mean it.
Reciprocate.
No, I can't.
I
I'm too nice. I'm too knowledgeable.
All right, so moving on. So with this show, as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about questions. People are going to be sending us questions. You can send them at defenseofthepatience at gmail.com. Generally there, or you can ask us in the channel, in the .p channel that we have for our Discord, and we'll get to them throughout the week. It's better to send it to the email because then it's all in one place. We won't miss it. Ursi and our good friend Blackheart, they both do a really good job looking over stuff, but it's only two people who are looking over a lot of different people talking in on it. So just try to send it in to us and we'll answer your questions. This is a show that I wanted to be less formal and kind of grab our well-known show hosts and try to get them in on talking about what they like, what they don't like, and you can just ask them more personal questions throughout the week and kind of get their thoughts on things. So without further ado, I'd like to go into some of the questions that we have, kind of field what. Well, actually, you know what, guys? I forgot one of the most important things. How's your guys' week been going?
Mine is dandy. It is currently Monday as we're recording this.
I don't think he said
Trying to think.
for Cindy to go first. My week
I mean,
is
I take
handy.
charge.
No, just gonna go ahead, Ursi.
Gosh. I need to be conservative. I need to be conservative because I have the Thursday show to talk about my week on. So I gotta like bring something up.
No, give it all here. We hear enough of the Thursday show.
Brad does talk too much. I need to like. Honestly, nothing's new with me. Like I feel like I'm gonna just be repeating this, but as I'm like relearning how to be a mid player, I'm just like playing a lot of the same stuff, and like it's just like expanding my hero pool one hero at a time. I played an alch game today. I fed a lot, but it ended up working. That's about it for me.
You found out I'm in high skill.
I mean, obviously, I listen to the Monday show and it was jarring, and every time you bring up Yasp estimated MMR, my head explodes. But that's fine. Like honestly, if you're in high skill, I'm proud. I'm happy that you're learning something on the Friday show, and I
learned it from you. I didn't learn it from Proud. I learned it from you.
Oh, I'm sure. Right.
No, I did.
Proud learns everything from me.
When we went 1v1 mid, I knew exactly how to beat people in high skill. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's always a metagame.
Yeah, so when we were juking and jiving in mid lane back in Seattle, it clicked with me, and I've kind of unleashed it.
I mean, I respect it, dude. It taught all of us involved the value of raindrops, and that's really all that's important, right?
Oh, So you live in New York. I want to know what you eat. Like that's always what I wonder is. What you eat. I live in a town where Audrey and I were like, what are we going to get for lunch? And she's like, I don't want anything from the Asian continent today. And we were like, okay, let's go get a burger. Like, that's our choice. Like, what do you eat in New York? Like, you have all these beautiful options. What are you eating?
I live in an Italian neighborhood, so we have like, within like walking distance to like a 5-mile radius of my house, we probably have like 8 really good Italian delis and 1 really good Irish deli. That's my deli of choice.
What do you get at the Irish deli?
It depends on the day, but they have good pulled pork on Fridays. Other than that, they have amazing roast beef. They make crab cakes that are like godly.
What type of sauces are on these sandwiches? Because usually I just have mayonnaise on mine.
No, disgusting. Mayonnaise is one of my like, Anyway, but yeah, so we have a lot of pizza and a lot of.
If you're talking to a New Yorker, you can't use mayonnaise and you can't use ketchup. Like
what?
Oh my god! Don't even get me started.
I don't like ketchup, but mayonnaise is
people that put. Oh my god! People that put ketchup on hot dogs. I'm sorry if you're in the listenership and you do this, but I hate you. Oh my god! That's like my ultimate pet peeve. Is like people that put ketchup on hot dogs. And oh my god!
New Yorker coming out of him, man. It's the New Yorker.
It's the human being with taste buds.
Dude, you may be born in New York. I don't really think of you as a New Yorker though, because
I'm not. I'm not in the city.
You don't really carry the traits of a New Yorker. You know, I mean, you're not
I'm too nice.
You're not really super interesting. You know what I mean? You're not loud. You're not egotistical. You don't think you're always right. You know what I mean? All those traits just are lost on you. So
I definitely
Ursi is that though. Like
nobody can pick up on my sarcasm.
Out, man.
Oh no, I picked up. Trust me, dude. I'm the humblest person I know.
Well, but the thing is that like the true like I mean you are that, but like true you comes out when you're drunk. I've seen the side of drunk Ursi, and it is a glorious.
It's fucking adorable though. At the same time, I'm not gonna lie.
Man,
like drunk
I'm
Ursi,
aware.
I really so. Has anybody properly told the story of the alcohol situation in Seattle? Has this situation ever been properly brought up? I don't think it has.
God.
Can I take a little bit of time?
Holding back on it because we don't want to like.
Well, I just want to talk about the amount of alcohol and Ursi's reasoning. That's all I want to talk about. So you guys went to Costco. I did not go to Costco with you because we were constantly in the car. We were constantly shipping people back and forth, right? And your justification was, well, it'd just be a waste if we didn't drink all this alcohol. I mean, we wasted a lot of hot dog buns. We wasted a lot of hamburger buns. I'm sure we threw away some other stuff, some condiments. But Ursi was not concerned about wasting those things. It was the alcohol. No way. We have a half gallon of rum. We must finish it. We can't just leave this here. And you definitely did a good job on helping finish all that alcohol.
I mean, I try my best.
Do you drink often?
No, that's why.
Okay.
Like Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of people though. I don't think that you're that's just our American background, right? Like we don't drink I feel like a lot of times there's people who drink often, but we drink a lot and we don't drink often, or we drink a lot all the time. Like it's just always about volume.
Yeah. Also, like I didn't realize that nobody else was going to drink, and so like I was literally the only one touching the rum, except for like maybe a couple other random things. But everybody else was like, Wazoo brought in beer, and I think that's about it. And so I was. And also, like, Growdy went to sleep at, like, 10 p.m. Like, God.
Yeah, Growdy was... Growdy, I feel like he didn't enjoy himself enough. I feel bad. I wish we could go back in time and just shake him.
The event, but I think some of the rest of us enjoyed the stuff other than the event.
I was up with you guys, but I was hanging out with Growdy, like, that whole time. I swear, I hung out with Growdy more than anyone else, because, like, I was always up whenever he was up, because he'd always get me up and, like, complain that I wasn't getting up fast enough, because, like, I was the only one getting up at that time. And you guys, we would all drink really late, and then it was like, oh, man, all right, I'm coming.
I don't I don't prefer alcohol. It's not my my preference, I guess. It makes I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm one of those people. My dad loves it. I'll tell you that much. Rum and Coke, and
I was gonna say I've like learned to like honestly appreciate the taste and of like just like having some bite. I'm all about it. Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that I don't like when I go to a Japanese restaurant. Which, if you're going to ask me what I've been doing in my week...
show Flubb.
No. Hey, you have an intro and shows. It's fine.
It's all good.
We
got to work this out, man. We got to...
Every week they're going to talk about alcohol.
I just wanted to address the alcohol thing, okay? Because you were drunk. And it was just it was so great to see Ursi drunk because his wonderful qualities come out in beautiful colors. The show that you guys did in Seattle, I think you weren't drunk for the show, but you were.
But I had started drinking.
you had pre-gamed, and then Proud was being his antagonistic self. And that show was one of the more fun shows I've ever been behind on, because I remember I kept playing sounds at you guys.
That was the most annoying thing I've ever lived through in my entire life.
That is, for me personally, being in the background, like being part of the audience, seeing the anger swelling up between like Proud and Ursi, and then Roland in the background like a goblin, like just like hitting buttons, like he's pissing them off so bad, and they're just like, man, will this stop? Oh, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. I gotta say, it is fantastic.
I'm like a washing machine. I agitate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I drink a Japanese.
I got that pent up hostility. Me and Ursi got to go back and forth because of being on a team. So
and who was the best on the team? And you were like, Vafa's the best on the team, and then
nobody said that.
I thought they did. I remember Flubb weighing in and saying that Vafa was the best. Is that not? Am I remembering incorrectly?
I said Skrunk was the best immediately, and then I said, well, it depends at that point. And then I was like, Vafa could be the best when he's on his game. When he's on his game, he could like actually go 1v1 versus a mid that was like 8K, and he like would come out somehow on top on that situation. But when he was playing his worst, he was playing his worst for sure, and he was definitely not the best at that point.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
He's a very roller coaster player.
Yeah, there were a lot of equivocations, right? Where it was like, people would say like, oh, who's the best at Dota? But then someone would be like, oh, who's the best at their role within the team? Who's the best at their top game? Who's the best on average?
Who is the best at Dota from on Ham, according to Ursi in August?
Hold on.
According to Ursi in August, it's me, and according to Ursi now, it's also me.
I feel like this is gonna go way later, and like this is. Hold on, we'll get into this area later on into the questions, because someone already brought this up, and I know it's gonna get into.
Can I just respond with your cocky son of a bitch?
I mean, you have the skills to back it up, right?
Your Juggernaut is really good. I'm not gonna lie. When I watched it, I was like,
man.
damn.
But okay, so we've gone with Ursi on like what he eats and stuff like that. We've talked a lot about Ursi now. So Roland, how have you been, bud?
I've been not so great, to be honest with you. I keep a smile for when I dial, but there was, of course, some things that happen in real life. Of course, a baby's coming soon, which adds a lot of stress. I've been having night terrors or sleep paralysis, which is a very scary thing to happen to somebody. I had a friend that also talked about it, and I was like, wow, that sucks. Like, that sounds like it's terrible. And then it started happening to me like shortly after, and now it's almost every single night where I have sleep paralysis. So that sucks. But other than that, like, you know, it's okay. We're about to have a baby. Like, literally, it was 38 weeks as of Monday. Babies are usually born between 39 and a half and 40 and a half weeks. So that means like 1 week from today to 2 weeks from today, maximum. Well, maximum would be December 9th is they are going to induce labor at December 9th if the baby is not already born. So no matter what, guys, I am going to be a father come December 9th. So that is like 18 days from this recording. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's stressful, actually. I'm not nervous about it, though. I'm more just ready for it to fucking happen at this point. Yeah. I just, like, the gun's been at my head for so long. I'm just like, dude, just pull the fucking trigger. Like, I'm fucking ready for baby Trigger to come. But, you know, I've set myself up for a successful fatherhood, I think. Yeah, you know, I don't know. That's the bad aspects, I guess, but they're also good aspects.
Yeah, you can only do so much, and when you're preparing all the time, and I mean, I have an older brother who went through a very similar style. Like, he's a very different person, but he went through like a period of being, you know, kind of anxious for it to happen, like you are, and it's understandable. You doing all these different things, and people are like getting you gifts and things like that, and everything's lining up, and then you're kind of at this point where you're like, okay, is it happening? And it's like always there. And I mean, you're going in like to the hospital all the time, so
yeah,
it can get tiring.
Yeah, once a week. And we're going in more than once a week. We're going into labor and delivery all the time because she's like, this is it. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And then the nurse is like, no, this is not it. It's going to get way worse than this before it's it. And then I can see, like, my wife, like, I'm calm, but inside I'm freaking the fuck out because this is going to blow. And I feel bad for her, honestly. Like, could you imagine, you guys?
I mean, well, we have no idea what to go through, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh.
That's something I'm so glad that I'm a guy about.
So. There's a lot of things, I mean, that, like, anatomically to be glad about, but also women tend to live longer than us, so they get to enjoy the beautiful roses of life. You know, I don't know. I'm you know, DotP is awesome. I love this project that I'm working on and all that. So honestly, good things that just lead to stress, I guess. Not bad.
Yeah. So, yeah. Then that's understandable.
But thank you for asking, Flubb. And
yeah, for sure.
And how are you
doing?
For me,
this is my favorite time of year, man. This is like, I love Thanksgiving. I love hanging out with family and friends and sitting around and eating good food. Like, that is, like, I don't really care about necessarily football or the parade or anything like that, but I have like Friendsgiving and Thanksgiving. And
you have Friendsgiving?
Oh yeah,
I
do that every year. And like, I get together with all my old friends that are like still around where I live and stuff, because I'm still in the town that I grew up in, and we all get together and just get together at my buddy's place, and we had like 16 people this year or something, and it's like friends of friends of friends, so you're meeting people every time that happens, and you just like all come together. You eat all the same stuff that you would do on Thanksgiving, plus whatever anyone else wants to bring extra, and it's just like sitting around with a bunch of friends getting drunk. Like, I played it was funny, we didn't have beer, we had a bunch of wine, so we played wine pong, and it sounds ridiculous.
Sounds like a headache.
Vodka pong
literally.
Is worse, trust me.
Vodka pong is worse. I have done that once, and that was a rough morning.
Yeah.
That was a rough morning. But no, it was fun, man. Like, I haven't hung out with people like that in a while, and I mean, you know, it's always fun getting together with your friends and drinking, and just eating and having a good time, it's talking about stuff.
I live in Utah, as you guys all know, and it's not customary to drink at Thanksgiving because of obvious reasons. So alcohol and Thanksgiving have never been synonymous for me.
Do you guys not do Thanksgiving Eve? That's like what me and my friends do. You go out to like bars and go out and like drink heavily and dance, and like do whatever else like Thanksgiving Eve, because that's when like everybody's back in town.
Right.
So like I've done Friendsgiving before, but
that's a different thing. That's like going out to see people that you haven't in a long time or whatever. Like this is like more intimate style, like not like going to a bar. This is like going together to a house and like chilling out like with an open pit fire type situation. So I don't know. It's cooler. I like the more personal. That's why this show is this way. And
do you burn firewood or witches in Indiana?
A combination, I'm sure.
Firewood. Well, you know, occasional witch comes around.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I'm sure they provide a lot of heat, you know, with all the evil in their soul. So
it's actually incredibly hard to burn human flesh. Not that I'm saying I've done research into the Salem witch trials or anything.
Interesting, Ursi. Let's keep that off the show. We don't. If you're gonna, there's probably do that anonymously, please.
Yeah. All right, so we're already 20 minutes in, boys.
We've hit the benchmark.
Questions.
Yeah.
All right, so so we got to get to these questions. So as everyone knows, we're answering questions right now. We've collected a few, and we're just going to go through them. If I don't get to your question today, we'll get to it next week. There are some questions that I think would do better as we get closer to the major to talk about. So I'm going to hold off on them, and we're going to just talk about some of the ones that that were first and foremost put up, and if I don't get to yours, I'll get to it next week. Don't worry about it. So first off, we're going to talk about a member that I'm great friends with. At least I'd like to think so. He's a great person. Gothier. He was talking about wanting to have a new way to build items, like new builds on people, and he noted his in his words, contentious mana boots, Medusa, and how Ursi builds armlet on supports. And he found a player that was playing Medusa, a top player, and they built Blade Mail. And he tried it out and had decent success so far.
Blade Mail Medusa?
On Medusa.
I mean,
which
mana reflects damage at that point, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's a decent idea because you want to be tanky.
Yeah.
But he goes on to ask. He wants to know what our dirty secrets are. If we have something that he can try out, some crazy item builds for specific heroes that go against conventional wisdom.
Gosh. Okay. So I'm glad that he referenced the I want support thing. And I also kind of feel like I can disavow all my crazy support ideas now that I am a clearly superior mid player that gets a lot of farm. So like I feel like I can just do whatever I want nowadays. But on the note of like innovating and doing weird skill item builds, I think once you, especially this applies to support, once you've kind of played around and toyed with some of the weirder items like Glimmer Cape and Armlet and Yule Scepter and stuff like that, you can really start fitting them in, and Blade Mail also. You kind of start fitting them into places that you would not have expected to. So that's where like the Armlet Rubik came from, for instance. So that's that's how I innovate on heroes, at least. It's, learning an item on a hero that regularly builds the item, like, Nakes or Huskar building Armlet gets you comfortable on Armlet, and then you can say, oh, well, I'm playing, Undying as a roaming 4, but I need some HP to live through things. So yeah, I'll build an Armlet because you're used to toggling and all that. So that's how I innovate, honestly. Or like Shadowblade's a great example nowadays, with all the Shadowblade coming on like cores that you would not normally see Shadowblade on, like Sven and Juggernaut. Now, like if you're comfortable with Shadowblade because you play a lot of Slark, then you're playing a game, you're thinking, oh boy, I really want to Silver Edge against this Spectre. So I'm gonna put one in on my Jug build or on my Sven build, and you can make it work. So that's how I innovate, basically.
Okay,
we're talking dirty.
What about
secrets.
you? What's your ideas?
So I want to touch on Ursi's. So the way I understand Armlet, like for Nakes or for Huskar, is when you're toggling, you're losing health, obviously. We all know it's called Unholy Strength, and you lose 45 health per second.
500. Oh,
500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you 500 health, right? But you're losing 45 health per second when you turn it off. everything you've lost, you've lost. With Nakes, like he can quickly regain that health, right? And with Huskar, he obviously is Q, and there's benefits for Huskar being at lower life. Wouldn't there be like that's the reason? Like why don't like with the Rubik? I understand like Armlet is just generally good, but like I would love to hear like a little bit more elaboration. To be honest, before I go.
Okay,
because how do you regain your life like on Rubik? I guess like quickly as like they.
You're
do.
not. Okay, yeah. So you're not keeping it on for long stints of time. Like Nakes, if a fight starts, he's using it that whole time. Huskar is the same boat. Or other Armlet heroes like Kunkka. Kunkka is actually similar.
And by Nakes, it's
Lifestealer.
I want to say that because I always thought Nyx Assassin when people said Nakes, and I was like, that's a weird way to spell Nyx. I'm just clearing that up. But sorry, go ahead.
But so one of the big things on Rubik, and somebody else actually did the math for me, which is nice. Dunzo Daggins, a listener, did the math for me. But Rubik has his magic resist aura, which actually increases the EHP from that 500 you're gaining up to 855.
How does that work?
Well, because he has a percentage-based aura, right? So the 500 health you gain is then basically added to an effective health by the aura.
So EHP. Sorry, EHP.
Yes.
EHP.
Yeah, EHP.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the other primary, the reason I started doing this, I should say, and the reason that I kept doing it in certain games, and again, this is a very situational thing, and you'll probably tilt your teammates into oblivion if you do this in games. Trust me, I've had multiple people write me in and give me screen caps of people throwing games after they built Rubik Armlet, but I had a lot of success with it because I would build it in games where I was taking a mixed base of damage, and so a Glimmer Cape wouldn't have solved my problems, and a Force Staff or a Ghost Scepter wouldn't have solved my problems. So I wanted to find a happy medium, and I'm very comfortable as a player with Armlet, so I can toggle through things in general. So that's why I played a lot of like Armlet Shadow Demon and Armlet Rubik, is partially because it's fun and I have a good time, but the other thing is that it can deal with a large variety of different situations, whereas other items are pigeonholed into just their one thing. Like Ghost Scepter does nothing for you against magic damage. It actually makes you worse. Yeah, Glimmer Cape does nothing for you against physical damage, and provided they have vision.
Visible.
Well, yeah, but you can assume they have vision.
Especially, oh god, getting into high school, my mind's blown at how good people are at this game. I guess, and how bad I am, and why Gaben let me be here.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, but yeah,
and. Sorry. The other core thing regarding Armlet is that when you have an additional 500 HP on a Rubik, that's a big surprise to the enemies, and that's something that they're not accounting for.
When you're like a pickoff hero, when it's like, well, let's just kill the Rubik, then all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck? Well, can't get this guy. Okay.
Like we've all been playing a support, and then PA throws one dagger, she crits you, and you're dead, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're a Rubik and her crits are going to do 1,000 damage, and it's let's say 27 minutes. You're probably going to have somewhere in that 900 to 1,100 health range. And there's a huge difference between having 900 health and 1,400 health, or 1,100 health and 1,600 health. Mm-hmm. Where, compared to if you're a Dragon Knight and you already have 1,500, that extra 500 bringing it to 2,000 is less percentage-wise of an increase to your standard health pool, if that makes sense. Sure. Also, I was always building this as a second item, so I'd always have a mobility item first,
like a Force Staff,
especially on Rubik,
or a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, usually like Blink or Force Staff. Yeah. If I'm poor, Force Staff. If I'm living in the lap of luxury, Blink. Okay. But yeah, so
I just wanted to understand is all. It's not really that weird. Dirty of a secret. You know what I think of most is, I know Lena, raindrops really hurt her and everything, but the Lena jungle that I've done, which isn't even my dirtiest secret, I just think there's Rubik, bam, I'm going to get him. But if you just pop that Armlet on, my Laguna is not going to get you. So
exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And also Glimmer Cape has a time, both of them have activation times that's 0.6 of a second. But, while
Armlet's activating, though, you're still gaining. Over that 0.6, it's like a channel more than it is like an activate. If you think,
and you gain armor, although you only gain armor after the 0.6 of a second. But
and it's 4 armor or something like that. Yeah,
it's one of those things that I just kind of did as a joke for a few games, because in games I'd obviously be winning, I would just be it'll be fun. I'll just build an Armlet because I just like the item, and then eventually I would live through fights solely predicated on the Armlet, And then I was like, I'm actually just going to do this in certain games. And it worked a lot for me. But again, it's very situational. And again, you're probably going to tilt your teammates into oblivion and they're going to hate you and blame you if you lose. But, it's Dota, so you're probably going to get blamed anyway if you lose.
For sure. All right, well, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
My dirty secrets are pretty much all on the table, as everybody knows. We can talk about like no boots on a lot of heroes. We can talk about a lot of things, but my dirtiest secret, I will admit, and my favorite thing to do, maybe in Dota, is Aghanim's Phoenix, and be like, no, you're not gonna die, my friend. And I might be doing some of my dumb things that people disagree with, like not getting tranquil boots and going straight for Ags, so I can egg and pull somebody in even though they don't need to be pulled in, and maybe we lose the fight and we both die in the egg. But I love being able to grab somebody in an egg. I think that's an invigorating experience. Most of the time it goes bad and then 2 people die and the guy's like, what the fuck, and you definitely get reported. Well, maybe unless you do well for the rest of the game, because now you can't just instant report for things. But I will say that rushing Ags on Phoenix, even though I know there are about 15 other to 20 other like awesome items for Phoenix, that's probably my dirty one. No Midas, no anything. I want to get that Aghanims and I want to pull people into my warm cocoon.
Yeah. Can I add to my dirty little secret just to get this out? I feel like both of these are well known within the community, especially for people that have listened for a long time. My other one is definitely Battle Fury Invoker. That is definitely probably the worst one that I've done at like many, many, many games of. So that's definitely up there as far as my dirty little Dota secrets are concerned.
And you do that because of the extra health and mana, just generally per second.
Good
being
damage.
able to switch over.
It's just a lot of damage. Okay. Yeah, and like I would do it, especially I had a Smurf dedicated to this at one point, and I did it a lot because I was playing in low skill games and I was dominating, and I wanted to convince newer players that this was the build. And I thought it was really entertaining that some guy probably played that game. Well, this was like years and years ago when I played Dota as a joke with my friends, not like when I was taking it seriously. And this was, it's still a fun build, honestly. And like Battle Fury is one of the highest sources of pure like raw plus damage you can get nowadays, especially considering its price.
And that's like the change to Basher. Oh man, or not Basher,
yeah, exactly.
The change to Abyssal. Yeah, I can't believe that Abyssal does plus 10 damage. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
So yeah. And I've also played a lot of other Battle Fury ranged heroes just because like it's the meme item. I love it. It's so fun.
and there are things like that. If there is,
you got to answer this question too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like there's plenty of them that I have. The thing that I would say that will piss Ursi off the most is probably Warlock. I used to play Warlock before. Generally, this patch, like way before it even got popular, being total hipster here. But the idea that I always had was to play him off lane instead of as a support or mid. And I would start with a Dull Talisman, and I'd start with a Tango. And in general, one of my better qualities as a player is being able to manipulate the dropping an item and healing ability, just like knowing when I can do that safely. I have been scorned on it a couple times, but not too much in the recent years. But one of the things that you can do with that in the off lane that's really nice is you can really put a bunch of pressure on the support that comes out to try to auto attack you, just because your damage hits harder. And a lot of times people aren't building these like lineups that have straight kill, like just loaded with stun, like Lion and Venge. And even if you get that situation, as long as they're not like super divey, it actually works in the off lane, because you can heal yourself, and the heal doesn't actually really hit until it like starts ticking. And if you are quick enough, you can heal yourself and drop the Null Talisman, and it'll like heal you up amazingly so, because you'll have like no stats after that, and then it just boosts you back up. You go back into the second round, push the support out, and eventually it'll just be you and the carry. And if they're a melee carry, you can push them out of lane too, and just kind of rinse repeat the type of situation. It also, I could get Iron Talon pretty easily at that point. Whenever I would push people out, and I could just like Iron Talon the jungle off to the side, and I could just kind of stay in lane, and I would generally hit 6 like a little bit after mid. I would get pretty good experience farm just because I could exist in lane, and then I could smoke and go kill someone with rock from there, and kind of like push it in when they weren't expecting it at all, and you could just like get mid really easily and then have the mid transfer at that point. So that's kind of my dirty little secret that I did. I would use Warlock in a kind of an unconventional way, and just kind of drop the Null Talisman whenever I needed health and heal myself. But you have to heal yourself with the Null Talisman on. You have to use the mana first and then drop it, because you just won't have enough mana recharge otherwise.
That's not really that. I didn't really think you had that much dirt under your nails. So,
I feel like I see you do something in every game that's more of a dirty secret than that. But
yeah, I was that just seemed inspirational, honestly, and that I'm probably going to do that. I mean,
now you guys share a dirty little secret. You're Eskimo secret brothers.
Yeah, there you go. I love Warlock. I play lots of Warlock. It was confirmed today to everybody that my alt account, I play only support, no cores, ever. So, I love Warlock.
Yeah, try it out, man. It's fun.
I feel like I have way dirtier secrets than the Phoenix Ags too. The Tinker jungle. For people that don't know my dirty secrets, I mean, it's a Santa's like bad list of, it's long and it's bad.
And it all revolves around the jungle.
Well, I mean, we can always get this question asked again, guys, and we can keep filling this idea more and more. So, I mean, they asked for our dirtiest and what the one that came up to the most, and then we'll just keep feeding them more and more as time goes on.
I mean, if you want to talk about dirtiest, it's like Nature's Prophet on the cliff and Radiant, and like farming ancients and that hard camp. Like that is definitely the dirtiest.
Anyone that jungles has dirty secrets that I don't want to be abreast to. It's disgusting. Junglers. This is why Roland and I don't do any other shows together.
We were really forced to do this one together and told to get along or else. So yeah,
we're shackled to each other.
And I play a lot of Shadow Shaman, so I'm pretty good at the skill. Even with sly little usurper snakes, I can still grab them.
Well, anyway, so before we get too off topic here, boys,
I'm just joking. Jesus.
No, I know. I'm trying to not continue this so we can actually get to more than one question in this hour-long show.
Okay. All right. So this one's strictly for Roland. Comes from everyone's favorite Grouty. The favorite punching bag the Grootster. As of late, everyone's kind of piling up on him. But anyway,
Roland loves the guy.
I love that little gummy bear. Yeah.
Oh my god!
How is that not like? Okay, never mind. We're gonna go right past that. All right. So, if Roland could trade any strength hero to Agi for Ursa, what hero would that be?
So I have to trade a strength hero to make him Agi.
Yeah. So you have to I think he's saying if you change their positions, like if you're gonna make Ursa strength, then who would you make Agi?
Okay. I gotcha. So do I have to take an Agi hero and make it strength, or do I have to take a strength hero and make it Agi?
The Agi hero that you're making strength is Ursa, but you have to now, equivalent exchange.
Oh,
right. So is Alchemist going to be now the Agi hero, or
Alchemist?
Or
Agi strength heroes. Chaos Knight is really good at paddling people, and I feel like that takes some finesse. But I don't think he'd be my choice.
Manta too.
And he does build Manta. I think maybe him. I think Undying would be a pretty dumb hero to be in Agi, just like Ursi's a dumb hero to be in strength. Or Ursa, not Ursi, sorry. Ursa, sorry, your names are similar. Ursa is like Ursa. Like I've been arguing, all day today that Ursa's like, what the fuck? Why is he a strength hero? So I guess if you wanted to make something equally ridiculous, like put Undying as an agi hero, then the guy steals strength, but he's an agi hero. You know what I mean? Like that makes no fucking sense at all. Like the guy steals strength, but that's not even his primary attribute. Like I'd pick Undying.
So yours is crash and burn. Just
yeah.
If the system's so broken, you don't care if you break the system.
I'll just break it more. Yeah. If they want to pick a ridiculous slot to put a hero, let's put Undying in the agi role. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. So even though that was targeted at Roland, do you have a quick response for this, Ursi? Do you have any ideas on this?
Oh, I think Alquist was a good idea because it would be absurdly overpowered as an agility hero. I was also, for some weird reason, I'm thinking Lifestealer. I don't honestly know why. Maybe it's because he's small and fast, but I feel like that could be entertaining. Tiny's another one. Like Tiny already builds Butterfly. I feel like he could finesse his way into being an agi hero. I think Chaos Knight's probably the most logical answer, though.
See, what I was thinking...
Then again, actually, no, not at all. Sorry. Chaos Knight's a terrible answer.
I think personally for myself, I would say Legion Commander.
Oh,
I think that
absolutely,
interesting builds, and like I don't know, like having the extra agility is like you're not gonna have as much health, but like armor wise, I don't know, that kind of makes sense that you'd want to build more armor items with her, that more agility items, and you want to like catch people easier with her ultimate and stuff instead of using like blink and you don't get movement speed with those items, but like you would want to build Yasha, You
get more attack speed for more, and I guess even more attack speed doesn't even proc more whatever that's called.
It doesn't proc more of her E, but it procs it lets her hit more. So
she hits more, yeah. So yeah, Doom does more damage. Yeah, no, I think Legion for agi. I'm all for it.
Yeah. I feel like we missed the obvious choice. You make Io agility because his stat base is arbitrary.
Io is a floating ball of intelligence energy, okay? But I knew that Io was a strength hero already, and that had been addressed before. It just shows how, Denny waits for his turn to talk, you know what I mean, instead of listens.
All right. Well, that was interesting. It's good to hear that you would destroy the system, Roland. You're just like, no, screw this all. I'm done.
Yeah. His primary attribute is agi, but he steals strength. He's an agi hero. Arc Warden also being an agi hero. When that happened, I was like, what the fuck? This dude is like, I guess he does agility type things. Like I'm gonna make another one of me. I'm gonna make it so you can't hit me. So I guess that's agi. Never mind. I won't start that.
Yeah, his
sucks.
spells are just really, really high mana cost. That's why he kind of feels that way to you. I would have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But going on to the next question. So this is from our main man Juice, our technological genius that helps us out all the time. He asks, have you ever experienced a Dota related injury like fear?
No.
Well, we're not 45, you know what I mean? So maybe in 10 years I'll let you know. So
I'm sure I've had some days where my hands have cramped up because I've played way too much, and I'm sure 5 years from now I'll tell you, and it'll be like, oh yes, I have crippling carpal tunnel or something. Also, arthritis runs in my family, so I'm sure this is not good for me in the long run. But as of right now, nothing comes to mind.
Well, as soon as we get you the serum to make you Captain America, we will fix all of those ailments that you have.
You better get on that one, buddy. We need it quick.
We need Captain America serum so we can play Dota the rest of our lives. I like that. That's the thing that we pull away from this. Not to stop evil or to
I'll beat up some Nazis too. Tila Tequila, I'm coming for you.
Oh man. All right.
What was the question again?
Have you ever experienced any
Dota-related injuries? With relationships, yeah, for sure. If we want to talk about that, yeah, I've definitely hurt some relationships in respect to would my wife prefer for me to be out here doing business, quote unquote? Doing business, babe. I'm doing business out in our shed. What do you think? Do you think that helps my relationship with her? No. So there's the injury right there. But I've also met a lot of great people.
See, I would say that like, yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a both for me there. That like it's maybe made me a little bit antisocial, but at the same time, it's made me really social in the spectrum of like I can talk to people seriously, because like a lot of the people that I play with all the time, and I want to like keep the same people that you want to like keep playing with the same people if you can. So like anyone from like DotP in general, like I've kind of gone to that area where it's like, oh, these guys are nice and I want to play with them more. So like
I've been playing with myself for a long time.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then you get to, geez, you knocked me right off track.
I'm not gonna touch that. Like, don't worry about it.
God.
It's just that's the only person I play with.
I'm off track. Right?
I'm not even.
I had something I was gonna say. All right, so like, yeah, you can't talk. You get a lot of depth with people because you like I've been friends with Ursi for like a year now or something more than that, like almost a year and a half now, and that's crazy, like
acquaintances or friends.
Friends.
Oh,
depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day, I guess. That's true.
Depends on how many wins and how many losses we've had at that day's practice.
That is a factor that I think everyone goes through for sure. But no.
What about you? Injuries? Flubb?
We'll move on from injuries.
I know you touched on it. I don't think you're antisocial at all. Matter of fact, you're the most social person at the house.
I feel like
you don't know him in real life. That's his whole point.
No, I do know in real life because I saw him at the freaking lake house, and he was walking around like super nice, like a fucking gentleman, dude. Everybody was like, "Damn, he's like the nicest guy I've ever met in my life." So yeah, I do know.
I guess that's true. I am just like one of those guys. If you talk to me, then I talk back, type thing. So, but I won't go into a room of like a bunch of people and be the life of the party for sure. I'm just
scream hype as you're half drunk. Hype, hype. Yeah,
I definitely will not do that.
I won't either ever again.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question here. So this one I thought was really, really interesting. It comes from Curbside. He asks, what's the most unfair, unbalanced ability that, in y'all's opinion? And he said it that way, so I had to bring in the y'alls. So
rot. Rot is the stupidest ability in the game, and I have no idea how to fix it.
It was fixed like that should not
kill you. You should not be able to commit suicide with rot. Fuck
See, that's
rot.
so much skill though. Like I love rotting myself.
Come down to normal skill and see how skillful it is. Okay, it's not skillful. They're just holding rot, and you're just like, oh well, my right click didn't get in time for that. What does it tick like every half a second or something like that? Doesn't it tick like extremely quickly? Maybe even faster than that.
Yeah, it's like
it's kind of continuous.
Maybe it's like 0.1. It's not continuous. It does tick. Rot does tick. I don't know. I know it's really quickly though. I don't know. Maybe it might be 0.1.
Very, very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 0.3, 0.1, 0.25. I'm not sure.
Right. But that's the thing is like you can do different things to like get by it, and like you can, if you are an experienced Pudge player, you can like wait and like see the ticks and count it out and be like, okay, now.
And Denny and I talked about that, or buying a soul ring and hitting soul ring and then rot, especially when you're low health. Like say you have 100 health and you see a projectile coming at you, you soul ring rot and die instantly, right? So like that's skillful, but that's coming from somebody who's 6K. I just feel like the difference between a 2K Pudge and a 6K Pudge is a skillful suicide and a very unskillful suicide. Kind of like they were talking about how it's broken that at the start of the game you can run in and have Roshan kill you. And obviously just don't spawn Roshan for a minute. Or spawn Roshan at 30 seconds. That's easy, right? We get rid of all the cheese strats with Roshan. We don't need those anyway. And make it so Roshan, you can't suicide on Roshan to get back to the fountain quickly. I feel like it's like the same skill-less thing. Where it's like, I'm low health and expended all my resources. I'm going to walk into the roach pit and die.
But you also have to play around that. You have to understand that skill mentality, right? You have to have enough stuns to let that not happen, or slows, or stack it correctly so that opportunity doesn't present itself.
I know you're a Pudge player, Flubb. I know you're a Pudge player. I'm not threatening to take your second Pudge amendment away, okay? It's yours.
How's everybody doing?
All right.
We're recording a show. Here? How are you? We're recording a show.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everything was going well with you guys.
Your turn's next week. Get the fuck off our show, and I'll talk to you Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Okay, no,
right.
Stay. Proud.
No, keep him out.
No, get him back in here. Proud.
We don't need any more
Proud.
Friday show.
No, Proud. Proud, please. All right.
He'll be on next week.
Okay. He'll be on next week. It's all right. All right. I know you miss your Proudland buddy.
Proud. 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 What do I do? I'm on Ogre Mage. Proud. All right.
So what do you guys? So we hear that Rod is the most overpowered for Roland. Ursi, what's your view on this?
Skillless, not overpowered. Sorry, I just want to say skillless.
If we're including the
level.
skillless factor, it's definitely Doom, and a close second is Omni Slash. And I say that as somebody who is now becoming a Jug player. Omni Slash is a low skill, very, very, very low skill ability. Doom is the lowest possible skill ability in the entire world.
Hey, you have to walk and you have to click on them. That's more than just pressing W.
You could blink too, then you don't even have to walk.
Yeah.
The other contender would definitely be Hook. I know we're kind of on the Pudge bandwagon, but we hate Pudge because Pudge is BS.
We saw him picked in the finals of the Summit, and that worked out swimmingly, didn't it?
We see him picked in 70% of all games. That's what it feels like.
Or every game. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's 100% pick rate.
Yeah. Hook fundamentally is just it does 360 pure damage. It has an 8-second cooldown. It doesn't cost a ton of mana. Even when you factor in his incredibly low mana pool, it is fundamentally a crazy ability. Its utility paired with the fact that it does pure damage that pierces spell immunity. There's
time
good.
in between hooking somebody, so you can shift command in instant dismember, which I hate.
Yep. I hate that too.
That is, it's not skillless. Don't get me wrong, but that is just muscle. That's muscle memory to do something that is wildly overpowered, in my opinion. To say I'm going to displace you and lock you down for a shitload of pure damage.
Yeah. And Hook is not a skillless ability, but it's definitely BS.
Yeah.
But yeah, if going by the original question, skillless, definitely Doom. Thank God that hero's out of meta right now. Jesus Christ, I hate that hero so much.
Yeah, Ursi's hated this hero, can confirm, for at least more than a year. That's all I can confirm. When I first met Ursi in real life, he's the most non-linear, stupid fucking hero that just makes no sense. It's Doom. You click a button and they're dumb. And I agree with you. I think they've done some things to Doom that are cool. I like the consumability. I mean, there are 3 abilities on Doom that I love. I just don't like the Doom ability. I agree. I think it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
And I don't like the axe. That's if I chase you, it never goes away. That's kind of, not well thought out, I guess.
Yeah. It's I mean, Dota is a very complicated game, and you're rewarded for doing complicated things and calling things well. But Doom ult does a ton of damage. It has an incredible amount of utility, and it's virtually impossible to stop. And it just doesn't all he does is click one button and mouse his feeble little Doom player hands over to the hero and cast it.
What about Lincoln Sphere? I mean,
Lincoln Sphere is the counter, right? But
Proud and I went into a game.
So late.
I'm gonna tangent. I'm sorry. Proud and I went into a game. And the guy, it was a Shadow Fiend. This was the most toxic player I've ever seen in my life. And he says, "Does Doom pop Lincolns?" And Proud immediately answers, "Yes." And he said, "Okay," and then abandoned the game. And then came back after abandoning the game to call us all fucking idiots because we thought that Doom popped Lincolns, even though it does. Even though that Lincolns gets used when somebody dooms you and your Lincolns is off cooldown, but he was so convinced that it didn't and thought that we were so dumb that we thought that he abandoned at the start of the game.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And then came back and just talked the most shit I've ever seen in my life, dude. And I was just proud.
Well, I mean, he abandoned, so at that point, I mean, he already lost MMR, and hopefully you won't see him again if he's that. I mean, he's bad.
Oh, he was reported for sure.
Yeah, that's not me like being upset with the guy. It's like that is a definition of a bad player.
And he was Doom. He was the Doom, and apparently somebody in the pick phase or a friend of his or something. I don't know what was going on with him in that day, but somebody was like, "Hey, that's pretty fundamentally countered by an item that a lot of heroes are getting lately," and he was like, "No, it's not. It isn't." Like, you know, because who needs facts? You know what I mean? Who needs truth?
You used to be able to counter it with level def, but now they took level def out. You can't, like, you have to buy a force staff or something to pop it. Basically.
Adds a little more skill.
Yeah, teeny tiny bit. Or you have to just use it in, like, you know, the first 20 minutes of the game where nobody has a Lincoln Sphere in most games. Yeah. But yeah.
All right, 2Bs. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What I'm thinking is I personally, for me, this is a really hard question because like I almost on the daily talk about how I don't think things are OP, and I try to argue for that fact that abilities are in general have their place and form and everything. So it's hard for me to say.
Go for skillless, not OP. Go for skillless then, not overpowered.
Okay, for skillless, I would say actually probably techies. Like once you learn a certain ability, certain style, like people will argue that techies has like a certain style of ability to play and like a certain skill cap of like understanding, but it's like it's guides really. It's like understanding where mining is important, understanding where like what heroes you play with, so that you can like have a tiny and throw you in and suicide. It's the only thing that's really skilled is his ultimate and making sure that you're paying attention to the mini map. Whereas like
I just have a script for that.
Is...
I just have a script like that's what I use. I just downloaded this thing and put it in console commands, and anytime anybody walks over my green mines, they just blow up. So it's pretty easy. I don't know what you're talking about.
I see. Like I get what Flubb's saying, but I feel like techies requires skill, but it's a fundamentally different kind of skill than every other hero in the game of Dota 2. But I don't think it's skill-less. It's just a weird, different kind of skill that shouldn't be in the game.
Like the thing is with Doom, like I understand what you guys are saying with Doom, but like he still generally has to like walk beside them to like kill them, in my opinion, because like you can have ways to get around Doom, like you know Dazzle or having an Oracle or Omni
or a Mac.
You can do different things to stop him, and like he can't dive a certain way, but like techies, you walk wrong in the wrong area, like if they have the hero, you know, like it's all about like walking a little bit off, or like if you have like tiny techies on the team, like being able to be thrown into mines, it's
that is
dumb.
skillless.
Like,
I agree. So tiny techies, skillless, absolutely. I think that yes, it's more of a cheesy, skillless, dumb thing, kind of like a Marine Rush, where anybody can build barracks in StarCraft 2 that are close to the enemy and pump out Marines, and then just click into their base and win. That's skillless. But techies also has a really cool intellectual warfare about him, where I would argue that techies does have a high skill cap in the fact that, one, I know of a person who got 4K by spamming techies. No,
me too.
No joke.
Gorgon, right?
Yeah, Gorgon. Couldn't believe it. Literally, when I clicked on his profile, it was zero versatility. It was page after page after page after page after page of techies. And
yeah. He's a great techies player, for sure. What Gorgon did is, I don't think it was necessarily spots. I don't think it was every single time I play techies, I know that if I put him on this little rock that's right here, it's going to get kills. It's more of understanding, I don't know, like when I play techies, and granted, I'm not nearly as good as Gorgon, analytical sense, execution sense, techies sense. But I love techies. I just won with him recently. The fundamental thing with techies is I like to play mind games where when people die on a bomb spot, I immediately go to that bomb spot and bomb it again, because they think, oh my God, I died there. That sucks. Now it's safe.
and that is it is skillless to sit there and just bomb and clarity, or bomb and soul ring, or buy smoke to get into little nooks and crannies and hide. Like, that is skillless. But the intellectual warfare of people thinking they're safe when they're not, or going for obvious spots when they've already checked them. I feel like there's actually a lot of like thought that goes into techies. Maybe not a ton of execution other than watching your mini map, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
And that's a good point. And that's what I was saying when I said my answer, right? Was that like I'm a strong advocate that no one is a skillless hero, that there's always a rhyme or reason for anything. But just like if I were to choose one, and it's probably my hatred of like the flashback, like it's like almost my Vietnam flashback, seriously, for me, for like Dota 1 techies going back and like playing like horrible games with horrible people, and just like, oh man, like techies would just like ruin my week for like my life. And I was just like, no man, I'm already an angsty teen, like this is just like putting me like 5 times over the edge. So it's probably just like, you know, just me being super hateful towards the hero. But for me, that hero is just everything that I hate about Dota. And like I even play it, like, and I have a strategy around it for our team that we haven't ran in a while, probably for good reason. But the thing is like that hero makes me feel so dirty.
Unless you're playing him makes you feel dirty.
Yeah, playing him and playing.
I think it just has to do with like the type of person you are. Like if you're me, it makes you feel awesome. Like when I double kill from 2 different bomb spots on the map, and they just happen to happen within like 5 seconds of each other. Never do I feel happier in life in general. I mean, and I laugh out loud and I cackle. Yeah. I
mean, but I'm a Pudge player, so like I'm a different type of asshole.
Yeah, you're
so,
both disgusting.
Yeah, we both have our flaws, but I'm not picking techies often anymore. The only reason I picked techies that game was we had all of our roles filled. I picked him like 3 games ago, literally. We had all our roles filled, and there was like heroes that like to move around a lot, like Slarkies and Weavers and stuff like that. So I love to play techies against those annoying like movement heroes, I guess you can call them. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the next question here. We got a question from, oh man, this is I guess someone from South Park, Dildo Schwaggins.
Is that a South Park character?
Yeah, in the new season, there's a guy named Dildo Schwaggins. So he this must be a lover of South Park. I think I've actually met this guy, but he asks, who would you guys most like to see reworked, buffed, or visually updated? So let's go with Ursi this time.
Visually updated is a very different category, I feel like, from reworked and buffed.
Can we all agree on Slardar?
Yeah. Well, Jakiro's up there too, actually. I would say Jakiro, because Slardar at least has cool cosmetics.
Yeah, you're right. You can put like a crown on him.
Slaughter, cool. Like they took the ugliest fish in the sea, and they're like, let's make a character out of this.
He's a strength hero. He's supposed to be ugly.
Yeah,
dude. But Jakiro, like,
can we?
Jakiro
can we rework Underlord, please? Because that hero, the second they released him, I was like, serious? Like, you didn't have to rush it. I know you guys take your time on everything. Underlord may look the dumbest of all the heroes. Actually, if we're gonna talk remodel, I know you said Ursi first, but Underlord, that guy, he looks like shit.
Yeah. Like this is the quick part of the question, at least.
Yeah.
What's hilarious though is that like both of those heroes look so cool in Dota 1. Like,
yeah.
Underlord did and Slardar did.
Oh yeah, it was. Pit Lord was freaking what's that guy's name from Warcraft?
Wasn't it like an Agamemnon or something?
Yeah, that's the big purple guy that has like a giant sharp row teeth. You'd play versus him. You play WoW, right, Roland?
Not he's like I mean, I did. I played, I guess, vanilla. I mean, I stopped.
He's one of the first bosses and like key people in Burning Crusade, if I remember correctly.
I never raided in Burning Crusade, so
I don't even think it was a raid. I think he was just like a figure, and then maybe it was in vanilla. I don't remember. Anyway, that's a whole
I don't know.
thing.
Maybe
he looked really cool, and he was.
I see a lot of Underlord looking heroes just in my playing of World of Warcraft recently that even look better than Underlord, and this game was made in 2004, 2005.
Well, it was updated a few years ago with Kata, but yeah.
Oh, it was.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks better.
Yeah, the thing is like both those heroes look super cool. There's one of my favorite villains in World of Warcraft history, which is that guy, and then because I played Warcraft 3 and he was in that, and I also really liked the Naga units, and that was like the biggest baddest Naga unit was Slardar. So
yeah,
I totally agree with you guys there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still think Jakiro looks like garbage, for sure. And Jakiro's two sentient beings tied together. It's not just one Slardar or one Pit Lord, dude. You got to feel for the two heads.
So who's the next rework then?
Okay. You mean are we done with the rework question?
Not remodel. Who's the next rework? Like a Phantom Lancer rework type thing. You know what I mean? Or one of those.
So straight up buff, definitely Lena, because not only do I love her, but she actually sucks. She's just
raindrops do not apply to any of Lena's spells, because that's your main complaint, right? Is raindrops?
It's not even just raindrops. It's just like a lot of little things. And like Hood got cheaper. The metagame doesn't work for these like really snowbally mids. Nowadays, you want physical damage. You don't want magic damage because everybody builds Lincolns and everybody builds BKBs and stuff. And she's a snowball hero. And like you said, having having raindrops stymies that for supports, and a lot of carries now that Vanguard's a good item. They just build naturally, have larger health pools. So she just is just worse. And a lot of other heroes do what she does, but just better. And so I don't think she needs a rework per se. I would kind of be interested in one, to be honest, but I don't think she needs one. I think she just needs like minor retuning, or like the metagame could easily retune itself to suit her. But in terms of like heroes outside of my bias of Lena, I would probably say I'd like to see a rework for I don't know if I'd want to rework for anybody. Honestly, like I'd like to see buffs to Visage because his birds are just so garbage right now compared to like Echo Saber exists and Dragonlance exists and Hurricane Pike exists.
I hate the 3-hit thing.
Yeah.
They need health. They need health like Serpent Wards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not Serpent Wards, Plague Wards. Sorry. Serpent Wards have just 2 hits and they die. Plague Wards, on the other hand, have health. Which is why Treant is the number 1 counter to Venomancer, seemingly because he can 1-hit level 1 Plague Wards.
Yeah, that's what pros have been doing.
Yeah,
to counter the Venom Jungle. Yeah, but I don't know if there's anybody that are really just like straight up want to rework for. Like, I feel like everybody has their niche, and I'm accepting of it. But like some heroes just need to be buffed or nerfed.
I have one, and that I think we will see a rework of. I'm confident. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that 6.89 we will probably see a rework on this, because Valve has been taking away skillless things. I'm pointing to Ricky. I'm pointing to Void. I'm pointing to Phantom Lancer to a certain degree. His ult before was just stupid. Even though it was countered, it was still it was dumb.
PL's ult did not change.
Yes, it did.
Stronger. It got stronger. They combined 2 abilities.
Yeah, the combination of abilities is what I'm pointing at a little bit here. And Void, the skilllessness of backtrack being taken away.
Dilation. Well, that too, but
I'm talking about the rework on Void when they took away backtrack and added time dilation. I'm talking about the rework on Ricky with tricks of the trade. And then his backstab and his pounce being added into one ability. I feel like this needs to happen with Phantom Assassin. I feel like that hero they just keep trying to like fix, and they just can't fix her. So let's go ahead and let's get rid of the skilllessness of Blur. Also, Blur is Monkey King Bar is an item that can directly defeat a hero. I don't think there should be an item that directly defeats a hero. And I mean, that you get into a game and it's like, okay, I guess this is an MKB game. I mean, I guess you could say the same is true with BKB for Invoker, but Invoker still has stuff. And Invoker can still like right click, you know what I mean? And still do things or wait for the BKB to end. BKB doesn't last forever, right? There's time There's, you can play Invoker around a BKB. Ursi, you're really good at Invoker. You know this. But I feel like if there's a hero that needs to get fixed, as in like a whole retool, still keep the dagger probably, but let's retool W and E. And maybe even crit. I don't know. The crit is also another skillless thing. I can prep like 4 hits and I didn't crit, so there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to crit on my 5th hit. It's not a guarantee, but there's a pretty good chance because it's pseudo-random. No, let's just go ahead and rework that and take out the skillless aspects of it because it plagues normal skill, for sure.
Plagues everywhere. I see a ton of PA.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll get reworked, to be honest, but I would be up for it if she was. I'd like to see a rework for like maybe like Brood or Clinks.
Well, what would you
like Brood just sucks now?
Brood is good though. I mean, it sucks because of why? Like, why does Brood suck now? I think the abilities are skillful, right? That you pop the ult at the right time to lifesteal, you spider to get the last hit. The webs are cool.
Truthfully, it's just there's so much there's always such like really good counters for her, like within the meta. Like no matter what happens,
Axe is good, and that's Legion's good,
and that's what Ursi's saying is like you can like finding the right gold limit for her creeps is like really important because you can just farm off of them really easily.
Well, Sand King Ags, I didn't think of the implication there. That holy fuck, that creates like a literal nuclear explosion with Sand King Ags. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things that are just like becoming more and more counters for her, and you can kind of, if you took away all the money you got from it, it would be way overpowered, right? And like you can't have too little, too much, So like it's finding that balance and having that rework may be really good for her to make her viable again, just playable where she's not going to be overpowered.
But what would you suggest? You know what I mean? Like, do you have any ideas of how you would rework? Because, I mean, when I think of a big spider queen, I think of something spawning little spiders. Like, that's got to happen, right? Like, that just goes with the theme.
I think there should be less of them. Like,
okay,
no
one
gets
them.
the
like
numbers.
They're stronger, but less of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, there's no one in this game that gets anywhere near the creeps that she does, and like that's like her niche. But at the same time, that's what's preventing her from being able to be good.
Yeah. I agree.
So like, why not just get like a it's funny. I'm
like
taking
it scales like you get 2 spiders at level 1, 4 spiders at level 2, 6,
or
8,
like,
or something like that.
Maybe make that her ultimate. Like maybe maybe she has like her ultimate should be like lessened, and that would be like
and they're like
ability
necro.
That she gets.
They're like almost as good as necro units or something.
Well, like and like
that
almost
would be
as good
cool.
as necro units that could like be in the web, and like maybe you could like summon it like get like 4 different spiders and like.
Or what about an ability that gave sight? Like what if her spiders gave like at ultimate level 1 it gave sight. One of her spiders did for like 30 seconds. So you could save Brood's ult to pop and it would give vision. I'm talking true sight. I'm talking like dust, like to see invisible.
Yeah.
Because there's not a single hero that can see invisible. Like an ability to see invisible units.
Zeus.
Other than Zeus, there is no.
Well, I mean, that's still
hero.
ability. There's other people who have abilities.
Pit Lord, Underlord.
And like, I mean, there's still like track and Slaughter's thing like that, but like,
I stand
there's no
super corrected.
ability that like stands. You're right in the fact that there's no ability that just is like a constant. Like someone just like in this area, they move and it happens. They have to cast a spell to make that possible for them to see. So like, you are kind of under a new idea of like having a ability that kind of gives you a Necronomicon, but you don't want something that like completely takes over an item. It's important that you still have that item's viability and just not like pick the hero instead of the item.
For sure.
But you could have something where like a creep levels up over time, kind of like
that's cool.
Dragon Knight, right? Like a spider. She gets like a spider that like gets like cooler, that like gets like new spider like tendencies.
And still have the micro aspect, but you only have a second spider or something like that. Like it's her daughter. You know what I mean?
or like maybe like make webs stronger and like have like a sense thing. I thought that'd be cool. Like if someone went into it, it kind of would work like the scan.
That's cool.
And you could like pick up people because they would like trip over your webs, because like that's always in
or they
spider
move
movies,
slower.
right?
I think that has always made sense to move slower on webs.
Yeah,
that people
that
should
would be
move
cool.
slower on webs.
But the thing is that
maybe
faster.
We'll give her less webs, make people move slower in them. You know what I mean?
If you had less webs, but they were more effective and they cooled down more quickly, she could actually be like a fighting hero.
Instead of
kind of like
sitting stagnant in a lane. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd kind of like if like her primary spiderlings had either. I'd be interested to see if like they were a little better, but they were worth more bounty to an enemy that kills them. But the super terrible spiders were either worth nothing, but like were just way worse. So like you could just throw them at people or throw them at things, and like they'd get one hit or whatever, but there's nothing gained, nothing lost. I do like the idea of having like maybe not retooling her ult, although her ult does suck right now. Like her ult is one of those ults that you skill at level 6, then you just skip for the rest of the time. Like it does not scale well. Like at 11 and 16, it's not even worth the point. Until like obviously you can't get anything else but stats. So that's why you see a lot of people skip her ult at 11. She needs a lot of levels. But I'd be interested in like converting her into like a fighting core compared to right now where she has this like pseudo nature's prophet gameplay where it's like, oh, I split push, but like she's just a bad version of nature's prophet. And then like a lot of people have said like, oh, you should let her burrow from like webs to webs, but then again, she's just a bad version of nature's prophet.
Yeah,
so
it's just like a cheap nature's prophet.
I don't know. I'm also kind of fundamentally against split push as like I don't like, other than Naga because I love her, I don't like abilities that cost you nothing but do something to the enemy team. Kind of like everybody complains about illusion gameplay, but also, nature's prophet. Like you can just blink in, or rather you can TP in, throw things at a tower, do a bunch of damage, and then like at no cost to you. And potentially like, yeah, sure, they get 100 gold or whatever because your things are worth like 17 or whatever.
I mean, Spirit Breaker charges you and you die, or you
but you ban Spirit Breaker because there's banning in rank now.
I'm just saying. I mean, there's a lot of miscalculations with Nature's Prophet where like I TP in and it's like, oh shit.
That's the same thing with Brood, but like it's the like mechanic that he is suited to, right? Is this obnoxious split push?
Although I like to play Nature's Bounty where I snipe couriers and support fights basically and build a mech on Nature's.
Yeah, I mean that's the better way to play it. But there is, I mean, I shouldn't say better. There is time place for everything. But I
like to support as Nature's Prophet. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to be able to TP into a fight and heal people.
Well, real quick though.
And tree trap. Okay.
So real quick though, the one hero I would want buffed though, because I didn't get to that yet. I'm gonna say Bristleback. Like I loved that hero so much, and he's one of my biggest fans for offlaners. I know the limits of what he could do back in the day pretty well, and I like his hero, like his core set. He just needs buffs. He needs like something to be better about him, whether it's the items, whether it's the hero in general, just being more effective with his abilities.
Silver Edge getting deleted from the game.
Yeah.
Well, Silver Edge just being less effective or something. Like have like
or doesn't break on Bristleback, because there are exceptions on Basher. Couldn't there be exceptions on Silver Edge?
They haven't taken those out though. Like there used to be exceptions on Blink, for instance. Like Venge couldn't buy Blink before, and Pudge couldn't buy Blink before. But they decided that was silly, so they started trying to take that out.
You know what I'm waiting for? Is the special edition Bristleback keyboard where all it has on it is a W. You know what I mean? That's what I'm waiting for. And it just has a big W that you just put your palm on. It's kind of like, as big as like a Simon Says, and all you have to do is just push your whole hand down, and it'll automate for you in case you get tired. That's what I'm waiting for.
We gotta click Q sometimes too, right? Like especially with Ags, you gotta rotate between them. You gotta like hit them at the same time.
W would just throw Q when it didn't, when you had enough mana to support W and Q. You know what I mean?
So with Ags, like that's what his Ags does.
It just throws out.
It throws out in an area.
But you still have to press Q, right?
Yeah, you press Q, but yeah.
Yeah, you press it, but
let's
it's just
merge
like you don't
both
press
buttons.
it on anybody.
Let's just merge both buttons, and when you have enough mana to both Q and W, then and that's the Bristleback keyboard for all those Bristleback spammers out there. I hate that hero. I'll be honest with you.
Man.
I hate that fucking hero. I feel like
so many times.
That's a rework.
I've gotten away with 5%, man. So many times.
They'd have to rework his name too.
You could rework his name, and you could also rework make him slower to move. Make his turn rate slower. If you're gonna give him such a massive boost to being hit in the back, because okay, if that's his thing, then he also needs a kryptonite to that too. Like, make it so he's super fucking tanky if you hit him in the back, but he's really lumbering, I guess, when to turn. And yes, I guess
his back's real heavy.
Yeah, because he has a bristly big bristleback, and with his ability Bristleback, his ultimate, which is named really well, make that so the more quill stacks that you have, or the more whatever Bristleback charges that you have, or whatever they're called. Make it so you can turn a little faster, but make his turn rate slower when he skills that. Because getting in front of a bristle, way easier said than done. Way harder for the attacker than it is for the defender. Meaning, way easier for Bristleback to just be like, nope, my back's turned to you. And then you're like, God damn it, just let me face you. And he's like, nope, I'm just going to turn my back to you. And you're doing way less damage, and this is totally skillful. Yeah, I think it's not that skillful. Once again, another plaguer of the normal skill, Bristleback. And people need to pay attention to what's right above their health bar and see if you have 5 quill stacks on you, you need to not go near Bristleback anymore. I wish people understood that because it compounds.
So great.
Yeah, you're like music to my fucking ears.
Just dive people tier 1 all day. I'm gonna walk away from this just fine. I'm all right
because my back's turned to it, and I don't even understand how the tower knows that your back's turned to it. It's no hurry, turn your back. Nope, face, turn your back. Nope, face, turn your back. Take them 50% less. It's
the one thing that's cool is that Bristleback doesn't work versus towers. So there is that.
Least. Okay. Well, I look stupid. But that happens a lot. I'm okay with it.
But there's not that big a deal. It's overall. It's still all damage, whether it's spells or physical damage that a hero does. It's lessened. So, I understand what you're saying, that it can get kind of crazy, and the turn rate would be nice to have. The thing is that it is a basic ability. His ultimate is that Warpath, and that makes him even faster and hits faster and gives him more damage. So it does work really well in conjunction, and it is kind of. I can understand what you're saying, that it's kind of like one of those unskilled abilities, because it's a passive for an ultimate, and it's all based on hitting W as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm. But I've had to buy 3 keyboards for every time I play Bristleback. It's just the P just pops off and goes flying somewhere because I'm just throw a coddle in there, and
an Octarine core,
and a coddle. It's insane.
Yeah, I personally loved when Octarine Bristle was a thing, but he's no more now. All right, so we're going to move on to the next question. We're going to go on to Shrek 2 on DVD. Awesome guy. I met him in real life at Seattle, and he is asking us about Lotus Orb. He is a little bit confused on how it works. He knows that there is that it reflects back to the caster, but he doesn't know if it reflects a reflex. So if you have 2 Lotus Orbs, if you have the one who, let's say the caster casts a Chain Frost at someone who has a Lotus Orb, but the Lich, the caster of it, has a Lotus Orb themselves, if it goes to the Lotus Orb and then it obviously reflects that blast, but does it keep reflecting and make infinite chains of frost until both of them are dead, or the idea is they're just bouncing all over the place. And I was only 90% sure that this didn't work because I thought it'd be like a big thing. So I think Ursi checked it out and I checked it out myself. And it is something that actually does not work that way. Once you have one Lotus Orb on yourself, you don't actually have the ability to
reflect another.
Have the ability happen when you can't reflect a reflection. It's almost like I think cool. The reflect almost works as like an AoE ability or non-targeted ability because you're truly not using the button to target. It's just a reaction to what has happened at that point.
Talk about rework. Was item included? Because that Lotus, like ever since Lotus Orbs come out, like I felt a little skeptical about Glimmer Cape. I felt a little skeptical about all the items in 684 that came out, Octarine Core being one of them, because doesn't it feel like Octarine Core has been out longer than Lotus Orb? It hasn't. I mean, it really hasn't. I hate that item, dude. I hate it.
Lotus Orb or Octarine Core?
Lotus Orb. I just feel like it's a skillless item, and other than the Purge, it's.
Oh man.
Am I just a pleb? Am I a pleb?
I'd say it's like maybe the most skillful item in the game, other than like maybe Refresher with certain heroes. Like Lotus Orb is a fantastically skillful item.
Do you guys buy it a lot on Ham?
I mean, I play mid now, so I don't. But it's like
generally, I'll be the one who's buying it.
Do you buy it? Like, are there times where you're like, get Lotus Orb, like Lotus Orb now?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I there was a game that we played the other night.
I guess skillless isn't the best way because you have to put it on. You're right. I'm sorry. Skillless isn't the best. I just think like dumb and unused. I guess would be a better way.
Think of it this way: if you get a storm to jump and like they have a silence staff, and you reflect the silence, like they're just gone. Or if you're late, then you purge off the silence. Like either way, it's a win-win.
Against Storm Spirit, that's really good.
Yeah. Or against like literally anybody that's predicated. That's like against anybody whose plan and like their route to success in a team fight is just balling in, whether literally or figuratively, and single targeting somebody to death. Just Lotus Orb them. And then, that person can't do that, whether it's a Lina or a Storm Spirit or a Tinker. Like, this is the most anti-Tinker item in the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought when it first came out, too. I was like, so they implemented an item for Tinker now. But
it's all about just awareness. Like, it's a really skillful item because you need to know, like, all right, have they used their abilities that are single target? Are they going to use them and on who? Is that person, going to be able to live through a Laguna Blade? Do I need to do it to them? It's there's a lot of little factors, and knowing what you can purge and what you can't
and
purge. And
you have to cast it on people too. So the fact that you have to cast it on people is, it was so underwhelming on how often you saw it. You know what I mean?
You still don't see it that often.
And I still don't know how some interactions work with it. For instance, the chain frost. Or what is it? Frost?
Chain
cold.
Frost. Yeah. Chain Frost.
Cold ball of ice bounce thing.
Yep. That's what Chain Frost stands for.
I didn't know that it would, start a whole nother one. I guess I didn't know the answer. I didn't know like if there would be an infinite loop of like Lagunas back and forth. If you Laguna somebody, then Laguna's back, and then Laguna's back, and then Laguna's back, like type thing. So it's interesting to know.
Yeah. So to clarify on those two interactions, the way that Chain Frost works is that if you have a Lotus Orb and the Lich casts Chain Frost at the person who has Lotus Orb activated, it starts a new Chain Frost,
and so opposing Chain Frost.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So there's an allied Chain Frost and an enemy Chain Frost.
Mm-hmm.
The other facet of that is that if the Lich casts a Chain Frost at somebody not Lotus Orbed and it bounces to somebody with Lotus Orb on, nothing happens.
Well, it wasn't cast on them.
At the Lotus Orb person. Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't cast on them.
With Laguna Blade, what he was saying about if they both have Lotus Orbs, it doesn't just go back and forth and back and forth. They just both full damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that happen with Legion.
Damage and, yeah.
Have you ever done a Juggernaut? Have you ever had it happen with a Juggernaut? It is hilarious, dude. I've got to say that.
I've killed people with it.
It's so fucking funny because nobody exists. All you see is your camera shifting like it does in Omni Slash, right? And you're just both Omni slashing each other and dancing around, and there's just nothing on the screen because you're both. It's It makes no sense. I mean, like
you go full anime.
World. Yeah, it's full it's full anime, and your camera is just like dum, 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 but you see nothing, but you know where you are still.
Yeah,
but you're not.
And you're both trying to like reorient yourself mid-flight so you can run efficiently because you can turn during during Omni Splash cast. Yeah, that's a
little known fact, but tough thing. It seems like a tough thing to do, but you can control your hero during that.
Yeah, I just kind of like hit a bunch of buttons and hope that I'm doing the right thing. Basically, like I know it in theory how to do it, but in the moment it's like so disorienting.
No, it is.
Outside of Omni Slash,
which is why Mask of Madness for a long time on Jug was such a big thing, because you can get like an extra slash in between an Omni Slash, right? Because it bumped your attack speed up high enough or something. Anyway, I'm droning on. Sorry.
That's all right, man. I was interested to hear what you had to say. So for Lotus Orb, generally that's what you want to use it for. Just real quick as another advice, also look at what you're Lotus Orbing as someone who does it. Generally. A decent amount of time. If you are going in and you realize that your hero needs to be unsilenced, sometimes it's more important to like wait for them to be silenced and then use it instead of like reflecting the silence, especially if the person who's doing it has a BKB at that point. So
because it's obvious looking to put a Lotus Orb on somebody and maybe they won't use it until after it's gone.
Well, it's the idea is that if they silence, if you put it on and they silence them at the same time, so if you put it on them and then they silence, they're silenced. But if they BKB, silenced. They can just take it off and they're still silenced.
Oh, I got
And then you're screwed for the rest of the fight.
I gotcha.
So
saving it for the purge and not for the reflection is good sometimes.
Sometimes it depends. It just know your heroes, know what the enemy has, know what the potential of what everything can do. With that being said, I would kind of like to wrap up the show. I do want to give you guys a second to like go over any of the questions that we had that you didn't feel like you got enough time to say anything for. I would kind of just like to, just wrap this up. Say, maybe what was your favorite question to answer? What like inspired you the most, and we're like, oh yeah, I never had anyone ask me that type of question before.
I'll go ahead and start. I love the rework question, the next hero to be reworked, because I guarantee you that a hero gets reworked for 6.89. I know I said Phantom Assassin, but I mean, you talked about Bristleback, and I could see a rework going on with Bristleback. Actually, once you started talking about it, I was like, yeah, he does have 2 passives. Feels like they want to get rid of passives, especially passives that don't require a ton of, no offense, but like skill, because especially with his ult, Bristleback's ult, right? Like all you're doing is, that you want to be casting things to move faster and attack more, right? Or it move faster and hit harder, or is it move faster and hit faster?
It's move faster, hit harder.
Oh, okay. So all 3 of those things. I mean, that's already kind of a byproduct of playing Bristleback. You know what I mean? You're already wanting to cast those spells, so the ultimate just incentivizes you to already want to do the thing you already want to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do you see my point there? That it's kind of like a redundancy, I guess. Not that I don't like, to play Bristleback. I think it's fun, and there are definitely places for Bristleback, and I see him all the time. It's just maybe I like the rework question because I don't think anybody saw it coming. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe there were people that predicted it, but I was definitely surprised with Void. Although it was bullshit when you'd Laguna Blade Void, and it would be like, actually, there was some calculation on the back end, and that Laguna Blade never went through because time.
Yeah. And it wasn't pseudo random, so like he could just do it to like a Laguna and then a finger and then like whatever a PA crit.
And you'd see top R Dota threads of like, watch this Faceless Void backtrack 7 ults, and it's like, how did that even work? And it's like, because 2 people use refresher. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So, Ursi?
My favorite question. I like talking about unbalanced things, mostly because I like saying that a lot of things are unbalanced, and I like.
You like saying garbage. Let's be honest. You like saying garbage. That's like I know it's because you live in New York and it's just everywhere, but like that is a word that you love to use.
Yeah, well, yeah, when you don't curse on podcasts, it like really you have to get creative with things. And also like garbage is like it has like a good like it's very round sound, like it's very evocative.
And the way you
I don't
said
know.
garbage, it's fucking garbage. That hero's garbage. Like it's like
Yeah.
GAWBAGE, like garbage.
Garbage?
No, there's no R. It's just garbage. That's fucking
Garbage.
garbage. Fucking
Yeah.
hero's garbage.
Yeah,
like cabbage.
it was funny. Nobody had told me I was like I had like a New York accent or
You don't
anything
really have a
until
New York
Seattle.
accent.
And I don't. I know, but you
certain
told me
words.
that.
You say carry. The way you say carry, it's like
Carry.
Now you're intentionally just saying carry.
I don't know.
Like if you catch you just saying carry and you know
Carry.
It's like carry.
I'm telling you, when drunk Ursi comes out, the true New Yorker shows his face.
Like I was a carry and get me a piece of pizza from that garbage. Like that fucking garbage is all over the place.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so
yes, that's my
so
choice.
my favorite question was actually the one. I really liked the question about what was the conversational builds. I always love talking about conversational builds, and I think that it could be something that if people want, I'm thinking about having that as a segment. We just like always come on and have like a conversational build time. So it didn't like really formulate until now at the end of the show, but I think that that's something that I'm going to do, and I really appreciate Gathier's idea on that. And it'll kind of be cool to bring people in every week and have these new dirty secrets come up and kind of introduce the innovation to Dota, because that's what I'm all about. And
I do want to. Can I shout out real quick to Gothier too?
Yeah, for sure. Go for it, man.
Shout out to Gothier. He was my first tether. We made a really strong bond playing Tiny IO mid. I've really never felt that way about anybody after tethering with them, and I would hope that we can continue tethering in the future. So, shout out to you, buddy.
Best. So you were IO that game? You weren't the Tiny?
Yeah.
Or he was.
I was the IO, and I had the pleasure of being able to tether to him ever so gently. As we met, braid to braid.
I bet he appreciates it. He appreciates it. But yeah, I think that that's what I'm going to do in the future, and look for future episodes if you guys want to hear about that. So now we're going to do our plugs. You can always email us at defenseofthepatience@gmail.com. You can always email us for anything, but one of the things that we're going to be doing is every week I'm going to be bringing in different hosts. Generally, it will be a rotation of our cast, and then anyone else who we find that we want to bring in and ask questions with.
And if we get guests, I'm the one that gets the boot, and Denny's the one that gets the boot. So we're the expendables, which is fun.
Man.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
All right. Well, we're already having volunteers voting them.
I didn't volunteer.
You didn't even have to go through that.
I didn't volunteer anything.
I was gonna say I should be the one that's leaving. People some weeks are gonna have to deal with me on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
That's gonna be fucking garbage.
Entire midweek is all Ursi.
What am I? Monday, Tuesday, Friday?
Monday, Tuesday, Friday.
I suppose Cyphus theoretically is gonna some weeks have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday too. So
everybody's gonna have. Flubb will have what? Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'll just have Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh wow, the LVH. You're not the least valuable host.
That's okay.
That
That's
no,
okay.
You're the most
I
valuable.
get my own show.
But you get to stay on the Tuesday. So really, you do. We only. Matt. I'm trying to think about this, and I'm just getting tangled up in my mind. It's difficult.
Okay, it's not that complicated. Flubb does 2 shows every week, and everybody else does 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. Yep, 2.5. But it's all
Flubb
right.
has to deal with us. That's the
because next week I won't do the Tuesday show because
it'll be Cyphus and Proud.
That'll be Cyphus and Proud. And anything that you want to ask them, email our website at Gmail.
Can I just forward my question right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why is Proud much better than Ursinity? Can I answer it right now since I'm on the show as well?
Yeah, I was hoping that just blew over. I know that we didn't get to that.
Proud's better than Ursinity because of a lot of reasons. First and foremost, Proud has long, nice hair, which is nice. I know he doesn't like the soul patch thing, but hey, he has a soul patch.
We're gonna get too off track here. We're already like an hour and 40 minutes in. All right, so if you want to, you can go to if you want to donate, we have a Patreon. Our Patreon is patreon.com/defenseofthepatience. You can find at DotP show for Ursi or Proud. For for Twitch, for our Twitch channel, if you ever want to go there, we stream our hand practices. Roland does some serious gaming he's been picking up lately. He always does his like fun jungle, so you can catch him there. You can catch pretty much, we have a rotation. The only person that's not on is me, and I will eventually be on in the next we'll say like month or two.
A little bit.
So you know, you look forward to that. There's also our YouTube channel, youtube.com/.ptv1. So you can find a lot of YouTube videos there. Fafnir does a lot of analysis, gameplay analysis, replays, and you can find some of that there. We have multiple different things that we are planning on doing in that sector soon, so stay tuned for that. We also have our subreddit, Reddit Defense of the Patience.
Jay Goosh.
So Jay Goosh, shout out to him for keeping that so lively and well kept. You can of course meet you guys if you guys want to do your own plugs. We'll start with Ursi.
I am at Ursinity. You can get at me if you want to tell me how Doom is a skillful hero, or tell me whatever else. I'm happy to hear it. That's about it for me, I think.
All right, and then Roland, of course.
Hate the enemy. Just hate the enemy. Just hate your enemy. That's my only plug. Don't hate your teammates. Okay. Hate your fucking enemies. Like I really want to start this.
I should have brought that up. I'm gonna bring that up to you in 2 weeks. I'm gonna bring up that idea because like that's so counterintuitive to me, man. I gotta talk to you about that.
Oh my god, man. This is gonna start a tangent right here.
You don't like the hate the enemy thing?
Oh man, well we'll have to get it into it in 2 weeks.
You guys, serious hate the enemy. We're not about patience when we're playing games. We're about hating the fucking enemies. They're terrible people.
I hate everyone. Let's go.
Well, you can find Roland at .p Roland. You can find me at Flubb Dota with 2 B's.
Is that the first time you've ever said that?
Yeah, but like I was like
Dota with 2 B's.
I was like, I just have to say it, right?
It felt like
my handle now. Yeah. I can't escape that now. But no, you can always tweet at me for more questions for the show, or you can just write like Q&A at the end or something, so I know not to answer you back on Twitter. If you wanted to be filtered on the show and have not only me answer but all the show hosts answer. So you can send me that or at defenseofthepatience.com. And for Roland, for Ursi, for myself, Flubb, may your GGs be easy.